Ross Turner, and I work for an organisation called Transform Work UK, and I've got a fantastic guy with me called Nick Shepherd. Nick, tell us what you do and why you're here today.
Okay, so I work for the Church of England. I have what I think is the world's worst job title, which is Programme Director for Setting God's People Free, which means nothing. And if you try and explain that at a New Year's Eve party, then you get blank faces.
Okay.
But basically I work for the Church of England, and the project that I oversee is about how do we help the whole people of God serve God's mission in God's world. So how do ordinary Christians really understand our part in engaging in God's mission, and what does that look like in our homes, communities and workplaces?
Gosh, what does it look like?
Well,
good question.
These people will know better than I in
Right.
terms of their own individual circumstances, but
Okay.
it starts with understanding that all Christians are called to be salt and light in the world around us.
Okay.
And from Anglicans' point of view, that's the heart of our kind of baptismal service.
Right.
So it's about saying, how do we live out that calling?
Yeah.
What does it look like to be salt and light wherever we're sent? And then what does it mean as the church when we gather together to really help one another do that?
Okay. Well, I've heard of this little project called Setting God's People Free. Tell us about that. What's that about? How did it get going?
So in 2017, there was a report called Setting God's People Free, which said that if the Church of England is going to be fruitful in serving God's mission, then we've got to work out how do we enable ordinary Christians to work out what it means to follow God in everyday life. And so that got us talking to colleagues in dioceses and churches. And so what we're doing is trying to nurture that. So we've just launched a new campaign called Everyday Faith,
Great.
which is helping people think through, what does it look like for me? So what does it look like to find and follow God where I am?
Okay.
And that's a series of 21 days of reflections. You can start it at any point.
Yep.
And talk about it in a group, do it together with a church, or just on your iPhone or Android phone on your own.
So type in to Google Everyday Faith.
Type into Google Everyday Faith, or go to thechurchofengland.org/Everyday Faith, and we'll add to that over the next year or so. We'll be adding different resources to really help people think through what does this look like for me.
So I'm really excited. The Church of England have really caught this vision of supporting workplace Christians, as well as people, if they're nannies or like the stay-at-home mums or stuff like that. That's your workplace, your front line, which is really exciting. So as we were chatting, I love that, the nation is split up into parishes, which means organisations, big organisations, are part of a parish. I didn't get that before. Do you want to share a little bit about that?
So what we say as the Church of England, our kind of tagline is a worshipping community in every community in England. So because of our parish structure, wherever your office is, wherever your school is, you will be in a parish. And so one of the things we're trying to do is to help people think through, workplace groups are great, but also maybe there might be some ways that you could connect to your local parish. So it could be that that's just prayer pointers for the church that gathers there on a Sunday to be thinking about you and your employer or your small business. And a lot of parishes are already connected with that for people who are part of those churches or in those places, but they may not know of that. So it's thinking through that, if you're having a Christmas celebration, it might be that, the vicar could come in and just watch and engage with that. It could be that it could go on the map of the parish to say that you're a large employer in their part of the world. So lots of links. But someone out there is thinking about you, as well as your home churches and all those places you're connected to.
So good. Is there anything else you'd like to share?
Well, I was just talking today about workplace groups and the importance of workplace groups, and it's just fantastic to hear the stories of how those groups are bringing people together to really engage with supporting your work and to making a difference to your communities and organisations and your businesses. And so I just wanted to say thank you for meeting together, for praying together, for putting the time into organising the way in which you are ambassadors for Christ in your workplaces and organisations. And just pray God's blessing on you as you continue to do that, because it's fantastic. Christians coming together from different denominations and backgrounds to work out what it means to serve God in the places where God sends us. It's just great, and I hope it goes really well for you. I look forward to hearing stories, because we want more of these stories to share.
So if you've got a good story, get in touch. office@transformworkuk.org and let us know your stories. Well, if you want to meet Nick in person, he's coming along to our celebration and AGM on June the 18th. That's a Thursday night in London. It will be recorded, so you'll be able to see it live. But otherwise, thank you for listening. See you again. Bye.